You know, like you don't surf. I mean, I don't know if you go to a climbing shop or a bike shop and then people don't ride bikes or go climbing. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know because that's not my thing. But in surfing, it's like ridiculous.
Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Mitch. And on today's episode, we have Steve from Real Surfing Magazine.
Yeah, Real Surfing Magazine, and a lot of you will know Steve, who used to be at Karma Surf Shop, and he is now off, set up a new place called Fringe Surf Shop, and that is still located in Newquay, but we'll get more about that at the end of the show. And well, we'll get into this one because we recorded this quite a long time ago.
We recorded this such a long time ago. All I really remember was just laughing my tits off. So enjoy it and let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go. Right, yeah. So we are with Steve from Real Surf Magazine.
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to see you, boys.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you in Clown Town.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's carnage round here at the minute.
Yeah, it is. It's always carnage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Fair one. And you've been here for a while, I'm guessing.
Yeah, since the 80s, really. So, yeah, I'll never be a local, though. You know what I mean?
No.
But I suppose. But you kind of are. It's a good community here.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I'm from Brighton originally.
Okay.
So I moved here in the 80s. It was but surfing was a different thing.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Then, you know
that,
what I mean?
that actually brings us straight on to one of the questions we did have. How have you seen it change in that time?
You're straight in with like
I'm
serious
straight-
questions
I'm
already.
going to go straight
I
in
was
with
on a
that.
journey vibe here.
I'm going to go
I
straight
just
in
used
with
the
that.
toilet and like...
No, I'm going to go straight in with that because,
Okay.
you know, he's been there
how
since
do I
the
see
80s.
surfing change? Well, from a personal level, I'd say since the 80s, it felt like more of a subculture to me. I got into it because it was a bit rebellious. I come through skateboarding.
Yeah.
So where I lived in Southwick near Brighton, it's a little tiny place. There's a break there called the Hot Pipe, and it's pretty shit, to be honest. But it's just wind swell, you know, typical South Coast wind swell. But it breeds a really hardcore sort of little group of all those little places around the UK. I think they breed a real hardcore little element because they're having to deal with crap surf, and I think ultimately that probably makes you a better surfer because you're surfing crap waves. You have to learn how to deal with crap conditions. When I moved down here, I was like, look at this. This is like going to Indo comparatively.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I can still remember looking at the waves thinking, man, this is ridiculous. But locals look at it and they go, oh, that looks crap today. I'm looking at it going, man, if this was back home, this would be firing.
It's funny because
know,
we had this
like-
exact conversation yesterday about, I don't want to call it wave snobbery because people,
Yeah.
you can be selective.
Yeah.
I can't be selective because I don't get enough swell to be
Yeah.
selective.
Yeah,
But
mate.
surfing sloppy, weak, choppy waves has so much to be said for and
Yeah.
giving you ability. When you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to work to be able to get around a section, when it's not just
Yeah,
being
yeah.
given to you on a glass plate.
Totally, yeah. And I still carry that to this day.
Yeah.
You know, all these years, I still look at it. Even all the guys, there's loads more guys from Brighton around here or crappy places, and they're all the same. Everyone looks at it, and we're jumping that can't get your wetty on quick enough, and we're like running down where everyone else is like driving away, and I'm like, what are you doing? And also it gives you low expectations. You know,
Yeah.
when it's crap,
Yeah.
you know it's crap. So you just get in there, and it is what it is. You got your exercise, you had your immersion, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it don't. But
Yeah.
generally, low expectations is the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you roughly when in the 80s did you come here?
So about 86, something like as soon as I left school, pretty much straight down here,
Yeah.
and then there's a few guys from my way, so I sort of doing the old sort of feral, sleeping on couches and doing whatever until you find some work, and then not long after I went back to Brighton for a winter, just to get some money because they're so seasonal here. I ended up, I got a job just in a supermarket stacking shelves at night, so I didn't go partying. You know,
Yeah,
you got to remember
yeah.
I was only 16, a young kid, and the temptation of going out and wasting your money. And I thought and while I was there, funny enough, I met this old fella, Jeff, his name was, and he'd been living in Asia for years. And I originally was thinking, I'm just going to go to the Canaries or something on a little surf trip. You know, I was just a working class kid. I never had any money. We were poor as when we were kids. So we all, and so basically I put my head down, and I saved up $3,000 and ended up going on a round the world trip. Just getting out of it. And because he was the guy that Jeff was like saying, no, you want to go to Asia, you should do this, do that. And I was thinking, well, I can't do that, on my own as well, because none of my mates could get their shit together.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking, and I'm not a very focused or driven person either, but I just got it together, and $3,000 worth of travellers checks. Remember those?
Yeah.
And we, in my pocket, and I thought, man, I feel rich. I still remember going into Brighton on the train with $3,000 in my pocket to exchange them for travellers checks, shitting myself in case I get mugged.
Oh, $3,000 in the 80s as well.
$3,000,
That means
yeah,
that's
I've
a
done
lot
well.
of money in the
Yeah.
80s.
Well, I looked the other day. My mum and dad bought their house in the 80s, 1980, and it cost them 17,500.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, man.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
And they've made you on it. It was a waste of money, wasn't it?
Well, when my dad died, there was 35 left on the mortgage, so work that out.
Right.
So when you moved here, the surf scene of Newquay.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you look at it differently though, because you are also. I was still a beginner in a way. Like, yeah, I could surf a wave, but like when you look back now, it's hard to kind of put it into context. But I think surfing itself, like I say, I liked it because it was a subculture. I liked it because it was a finger to the man. It was rebellious, like skating. It was a bit punk, and it felt a bit. Now it's like some middle class thing. It's all a bit. You know what I mean? A bit. No offense, but being like say from nothing, we had boards where you'd pass them down and there'd be more ding than original board left.
Yeah.
But you loved that board to death because it was sick. I can't believe I've got this. Once upon a time it might have been a good board, but you could barely recognisable. Because it was knackered. But it made you, again, you just got on with it instead of, now all the Groms have got tons of boards, all this high performance crap. It was just like, look, you're just lucky to be surfing, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like kind of thing, It just felt a bit more kind of, bit more feral and a bit more, that kind of thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, and a bit, and like, the characters of surfing back then felt like they were rebels. They'd go out and they're a bit more party and doing this and getting off their heads and, it was that image, right? That's what surfing...
Yeah.
The Spotily type characters and the sort of like hardcore, guys and everything. But got to remember that was pretty much shortboardy. Everyone was on the wrong board kind of thing. You know what I mean? In those days, like I had a stupid little potato chip thing that I first went away to Indo. I had no business being on it, but we all did it.
Yeah.
We could duck dive, but we couldn't take waves.
Well, there's an honesty to that, having just having a board. It's like your first car, isn't it? Like, that'll do.
Totally.
I'll make it work. And you will make it work.
Yeah,
you
my first car was an Astra, 250 quid. My mate had it in bits in his garage, and then he put it together and go, I've got a car for you. And I was thinking, man, but to his credit, he got it together. And that's your first thing. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how but when you're not from money either, I think you learn to appreciate and value things a bit more. Like I say, keep them going, innit?
Yeah.
Like now I just see all the kids with brand new this, brand new that, and whatever, and they think it's going to make them a better surfer. But
I definitely don't do that.
I don't particularly.
I'm an
believe
old
in
bottled firewire, cheers.
Which I'm not into all that firewire, and I just don't.
Fairness,
I don't.
Mine has made me surf better.
I'm a bit like, even with boards, like you say, even now I don't get sort of pulled into it. I don't like the whole industry thing, the homogenisation of surfing, all the big, companies, China, Thailand taking over, soulless. You know what I mean? They just look. They don't surf. I'm not trying to say Charlie don't surf, but that thing of like, it's that whole thing of what's that got to do with?
You're kind of using the image to sell products. I think is that.
Yeah, sure. And like I say, mass produced, isn't it? Just anything that's they don't know what waves we've got around here.
Yeah.
Like their rail shapes or their bottoms aren't made. They don't care. They're just most of them are poor quality.
But I think that goes into literally before we started recording. You said, "Why do you want me on here?" And that ties into what you're saying, because actually with your story, your background, your journey of it, that gives you that same honesty. So the people that know who you are. Yeah. And you're making boards for that wave, for them waves.
Yeah, totally. I make boards. I don't make the boards. Dave does here at Karma, but like that's why I went with Dave here, because it was honest, and it was like and to be honest with you, a customer base as well. You get people that come in sometimes and they think they know, and then you see them in the surf. You're like, mate, you're wobbling to your feet. Like you came in giving me the impression that you were Kelly Slater, and then I'll see him in the water. I'm like, dude, you can barely surf, that kind of thing. Why do people have to come in and bullshit you and give you all this, about how they, I want this and talk about litres and all this business? It's like, I'm from the old school thing where, litres doesn't matter. Like Dave always says here, he says like, oh, look at that cool box over there. That's 35 litres. You go, it's surf shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's his... Yeah, what this litres, But I mean,
it looks like it's got wax on it.
So but you know what I mean? It's like, it's how it's distributed. It's how it's, it depends on the surfer. It depends on your experience. But it's fun. I like dealing with people that are open to being moulded by you, or just listen. Just listen to me. I've surfed for 40 years. I probably know a bit more than you. Because you've been surfing 5 minutes. Like I would when I was a kid. I looked up to the older guys, and I was like, they used to like give you a punch in the face if you got in the way or whatever. Back then, you couldn't punch someone in the face these days. Right. Not that I agree with it, but it did make me a stronger person, if you know what I mean. But it was different back then. Like you said, the 80s. That was our time.
I still love the idea of somebody walking in here going, right, Steve, I think I want a 6 6, and they end up leaving here with a fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a thruster.
Yeah. We'll have this cool box.
Well, Steve said it was good.
Yeah.
He just sat bobbing about.
Or this backpack, it's 65 litres. Yeah, try going surfing on that. But yeah, it's all a bit weird. I think it came from windsurfing originally or something like that. Because, like I say, when you do a CNC, a shape in the machine, it comes out as it comes out and it tells you how many litres it is, but you can't ask a shaper, who's hand shaped it or whatever, saying how many litres in this. You go, what are you on about? So I don't get too bogged down in it. I just humour it. Yeah, fine. I think it's about 60 litres. And then how often you go surfing? 4 times a year. I said, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You just want a big board that's going to get you in the water and you're going to have fun.
Yeah, that's
it. It's as simple as that.
That's an interesting point. I done a review for Fourth on the BP Mini a while ago, and I remember. I was like, oh man, I need to get all the stats, and I was trying to remember all the dims and stuff. And then I was thinking to myself, I don't fucking know what that means.
Nah.
Nobody knows what all that shit means. That's shaper stuff.
Yeah,
the generic thing in the end was it's big and it's floaty.
Yeah.
What else you need to know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You can keep it simple. You can overcomplicate it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So when did you start Karma?
So I came in with Dave. Started it in 1972. Right. So I'm not like his original label. He then became Many Returns after a while, and then when I came in with Dave here, I was like it's only about 5 years ago, and he was like, I said, dude, you got to use your name Karma. That's a sick name, kind of thing. And there was Kieran McQueen who originally. He's like he's into his longboarding and everything. He came in with Dave and changed his logo and said you need to capitalise on your heritage, because ultimately, the guy's been around a long time. He was shaping in a shed back in Norfolk in like 1969 or something, and he's old school. He's like he's early 70s now. There ain't many of those guys left. Like CJ sadly died recently, and didn't pass on his legacy, if you know what I mean. It's a shame to see all these places go. So I was like, mate, you got this great space in here that's just full of crap, stuff, because he makes board bags and repairs board bags and does so it was just all full of industry stuff. And I looked at the space and I was like, I was fed up with my job at the time, and I thought, mate, we could make something out of this, And if it don't work, it's fine. But I've got a bit of a following through the magazine, and I thought I could maybe get people down here with my honesty, and the kind of following, if you want to call it that, from that, which turns out I was right, and it worked out. Yeah.
I mean, I've come past here loads over the years, and I've never came in, and coming in today for the first time, I was actually blown away by the size of it.
Yeah, it's surprising. Yeah.
Do you know? I think you've got that thing of. It feels like a proper surf shop.
Yeah.
There's so many surf shops you go in now, and it just feels like you've walked into Next, but for surfing. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not into the shiny image.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It feels like in here, it's a proper surf shop. You've got like proper like heritage stuff in here, and you've got like, as you've walked us around, like all the different parts and everything, like even from like. Sat now next to a sewing machine that looks like it's used for repairing board bags and stuff, and like into the shaping bays.
Yeah, and it's
stuff
all
like
used.
That.
It's not here for show. Yeah, exactly. It's a real working surf shop. But it's that thing. That's what I wanted, not in a fake way. It was real. All I'm doing is adding the customers almost and my touch of like, well, I'm into the old school, and not in a hipster way or in a sort of trying to be cool. It's just this is legit. I'm into more like I prefer single fins, twin fins, longboards. I'm not a shortboard guy. I was for 20 years, but now I look back and I think I wasted a lot of them years. Like on the wrong board, like we said.
Okay,
and don't get me wrong, it did make me a better surfer in the end, but it's just not what I'm into.
Let's talk about your surfing. So how you started off of skateboarding, got into it. Did you pick it up quickly, or was it a slow?
Not really. I was pretty crap. Like I say, I was on the wrong board. Like I started off on a pop out that I swapped with a girl at school for something like probably like
you don't have to say what you swapped it for.
Yeah, probably like a ghetto blaster or something back then.
Like my stepbrother who lost his virginity for swapping a cornetto ice cream with the babysitter. Good story.
Good deal. Yeah.
It was a bargain.
But yeah, it's all what were we saying?
You
threw me off with that.
How you took to surfing and how you found that experience?
All I can remember is I came down here, I bought an old Vitsy surfboard. I think it was from like Boardwalk or Fistral Surf Company, whatever it was, out on Cliff Road there, and 45 quid I think it was, and I bought a second-hand wetsuit, and I can still remember my first wave, like proper wave down here when I came down here. Because back in Brighton, I wasn't like I was skating more than surfing really, but when I got here, it just took over, because it's just obvious, and like I say, and even to this day, I still appreciate the waves. I love Newquay. A lot of people slag it off and they're all, oh, Newquay, yeah, it's full of wankers and it's all, but it's an amazing community here, bubbling underneath all this, the size of it and the crowds and all the, that goes on. But it's amazing. I love it. I hope I live here forever. Like a lot of people, like I say, a lot of people put Newquay down.
So was the magazine before the shop?
Yeah, magazine was before this. Yeah, so that was probably in 2000. I think that was 2015. I'm a bit crap with dates, but why did that come about? So originally, I simplify things in life, right?
Yeah,
and we'll get to that in a minute, I suppose. But what happened was I did an article. I've always been a bit wordy, and a bit sort of writing stuff down and.
That's fine, it's real.
Yeah.
Right. What you want is a 6'5" fridge.
So they, where is it? Yeah. So basically, so I did an article for a magazine, for a surfing magazine, a big, one of the known ones, and it was about my journey I'd been surfing probably 30 years at that point, and I suddenly started riding a foamy, right, an old shitty foamy that I found in a skip, and I was like, and that's what turned me into I realised how sad the lineup was when I paddled out on, say, a small board or a cool board, the usual guys. Yeah, Steve, how you doing, man? And then when I started paddling out on the foamy on crappy days, just to get in the water, people would I'd say, how you doing, boy? And they look at you like, what are you doing? And I thought, are you really that shallow, you lot? This is like, say, at North Fistral, you're paddling out, all the boys are there, whatever, and some of them were sort of looking at you, go, yeah, whatever. And other people were like, what are you doing? But then we started surfing these things, first of all, it was in 1/2 foot, 1 foot days, just so we got in the water where I would have turned away before.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, these things were knackered as well. These were old, ex-surf school foamies. And me and my mate, Justin, we were out there and we were just all over it. It got stupid, I wasn't being like a pain in the ass, but I was like, mate, you guys should get on one. This is amazing, but I love the simplified version of surfing it gave you, and the wave count went through the roof. It just got bloody stupid. And I liked it that they weren't meant to be surfed, we were surfing them, because we could surf, sort of thing. And and that kind of started that whole journey. That actually started my journey into bigger things. It wasn't so much age; it was just the thing that we just kind of stumbled across it almost, like picking an old foamy out of a skip, and then that was 10 years I stayed on that thing. I snapped loads of them, because we started off in 1/2 foot, suddenly we're out in sort of double overhead on a foamy. It just got stupid.
It's such a funky thing because I love a foamy session. It's so much fun, but at the same time, I'm doing that when there's not this expectation of that people just do that. You see people charging fucking crazy snapper on foamies. Why not? JOB, the stuff he does on foamies, but actually at the time, I'm guessing nobody was doing that.
No, exactly. That's the difference. Yeah. People were looking at you, what are you doing? And some people think, oh, are you injured or something, or are you a surf instructor? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because why did you see? No, but then foamies have come a long way in the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever, haven't they? Now it's all these Mick Fanning ones and blah blah blah. JOBs out with pipeline on a foamy.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that we started it, but it was just around. That was just how we were. We got into that. Yeah. Previously to that, I was on a twin fin for 10 years. I'm kind of a person that sticks with one thing for a long time. And I like getting that down, and I love twinnies, and CJ lent me an old Elias twin fin. I don't know what it was, 6.0 or something, fat thing. And because I was a skater, it felt comfortable. And I remember just taking it out this crappy day at Fistral, and it was just, I came alive on it, and I was like, man, there's something to this, But again, people weren't riding retro boards, and this is around the time of, say, Litmus, and the whole kind of where that film and that era changed everything for me personally, and a lot of people like me. Before that, it was shortboard mentality and, aggression, attack. And then suddenly it was like, hang on a minute, we can flow with this. This is beautiful, So the whole Litmus, Glass Love, Andrew Kidman, that kind of movement thing really kind of set a seed, if you know what I mean, in mind. Yeah.
See, that we had a similar conversation earlier, didn't we? Which was someone saying about different surfing. I said, well, if we all surf the same things, it would be really fucking boring.
It would,
you just have one spot where everyone would want to surf. So that that big broad spectrum makes it even more interesting.
Because people want to go to a different place and a different edition.
Yeah, but the industry wants you to go on these high performance. Whereas, look, loads of people would disagree with me. They'd say, no, it's about performance. When you talk to some people, they go on about, this is, you want to get this right, and you must turn to this access. You know what I mean? And you're like, mate, I don't care about all that. I just want to go surfing. And like, it's got nothing to do with that for me. I'm the most untechnical person you can think of. I'd surf a door if I had to. I just want to get in the water, and as long as I'm having fun, then happy days. So the magazine. So back to your thing about the magazine it was about 2015. I'd submitted an article. The magazine printed it because I thought it was half decent, and obviously they did too. But they cut all the meat out of it and left just the boring bits. Right? They took out what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say was, it was a story about a guy going out on a foamy, and he was having the most amazing time. I was living off grid at the time, and they sort of cut it. It might have been a bit long for them. Maybe it was too much space, but it really ruined that article. So I thought to myself, I'm going to start writing. I'm going to do my own little fanzine. I'm going to put it out there and be a bit, like an old school punk fanzine. Yeah. That's how it goes, like a leaflet almost. I was thinking, I was going to put this thing out there and get under people's skin with it, and like say, this is not what surfing's about and this kind of thing. And then suddenly it turned into more of a sort of like, because I had a few contacts over the years of surfing, and suddenly I had like Tom Carroll said he'd do an interview for me, and I can't even remember who was in the first one. There was some pretty big names in the end, and it might have been Larry Bertleman, the old school rubber man from Hawaii. I was thinking, this is mental. So it just kind of tumbled out of control, and weirdly, I think that's in life, that's what happens, isn't it? If something's meant to be, it just tumbled out of control almost without me, you know what I mean? It was in my heart, but which was a good thing. But on the other hand, I didn't actually want it to become a magazine. I just wanted it to stay a fanzine. Yeah. But the more and more material that came in, and the more and more I started chatting with people, I just said, look, I don't relate to the surf mags at all. I still don't. Yeah. And I said, I want a magazine that I could relate to. I used to relate to Surfer's Path a bit. That was a pretty good mag in the early days for me. That inspired a lot of our generation. But that had finished, and there's Surfer's Journal. That's a nice magazine, still is. But even that, it's a beautifully produced publication. But for me, I don't relate to half of it in there. And but I love it that they keep most of the adverts out there and everything. And that was the other thing, advertising. That's just so annoying in a magazine. Yeah. But I understand it's a business. Yes. I didn't do it as a business. That's the difference. It was from the heart. It was about me getting a point of view out, if anyone wanted to listen. But it turned out they did. Yeah. And that's that, and that surprised me. How
surprised were you with people when you ask them to speak to the magazine, that the amount of people? Because I've been so surprised on this, when you say to someone, do you want to speak to us on the podcast? They're like, yeah, sure. Yeah. How surprised were you with people you didn't know reaching out to them, go, hey, do you want to speak to me for the magazine?
I was really shocked, because I was like thinking, I'll just do, like I say, originally I was thinking just this leaflet thing, and I did this. It was just a folded over magazine, issue 1, and I was going to do just 100 copies or something, just for a laugh in Newquay. Yeah. Put them around everyone, look at this, look, I'm taking the piss out of this and taking the piss out of that. And I got a couple of cool interviews and some articles I wrote. And then suddenly more and more people wanted it, and I sold 500 of the first issue. And I was like, 500? It goes, what, like idiots? Why would you, And I was like, what are they doing? And then it was for next to nothing. It was never been about the money, still isn't. I don't make bugger all out of it. It was never about that. It's about the passion and putting a different point of view out there, and actually just it just kind of. Then the second one came. I did the second one the same year, but I realised that doing 2 in a year with working, it was too much, and I couldn't get it together. And I thought, I don't want to do 2, so I'm just going to make it an annual, and do it. And as it went into number 3, then suddenly I was getting. It's funny though, because when you like I said, Tom Carroll or whatever. So Tom Carroll led on to someone else, and someone else, opens doors weirdly. Yeah. And and like I say, and they liked it that I wasn't doing it for money and it wasn't full of adverts. They themselves said, that's really good what you're doing, keep it up, And I thought, wow, that's really cool that these guys, and I've had some serious names in there, Sean Thompson over the years, all these kind of, it's gone ridiculous. And
do you think if it became so big that you were doing 2 weekly publications every week, worldwide content, and it was going out to the world, the money you have to put into that, I presume you could appreciate that there's a point there's a threshold where you need to have the sponsorship, and sadly,
totally.
that comes through.
Yeah, but it's a business, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
because like you ain't going to get the money out of the subscribers. I think for those guys, the magazines that are out there, I totally understand well, because it's so easy. Like I get hassled by companies to put advertising in my mag, and I turn them all down. I say, look, I'm not interested in it. It's got nothing to do with the crap you're selling. Yeah, I say I want to keep it. The only thing I'll do is, like, if someone's got their little business they're doing, I might be tempted to put it in there for them, just to in the back pages, just to kind of help the small man out, rather than. But it's just keeping the whole corporate thing out of it, because it's not about that. It's about surfing. It's got nothing to do with selling you this and selling you that. And that's unfortunately where it went wrong, because even things like wetsuit guides, or something, it's like pages and pages of wetsuits who are like the only ones that get in there and they talk good of are the ones that paid them for the advertising, stuff like that. And I think that's just bullshit. And for me, I just that's like selling your soul, and I'm not into it.
What is it with modern magazines? What is there a specific thing, or UK surf magazines? What do you think they're lacking in? Do you think they're not giving enough UK support?
Yeah, so UK surfing's lacking in it, that's for sure. But I don't really. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at a UK mag in years. I'm just not interested. Every time I open one up, it's just adverts. And like I say, it's totally different to what I don't want to slag them off, because they're trying to put food on their kids' tables, or they're like that's a business thing. I'm not a business. Like my thing is purely for surfers and surfing, which sadly I don't think there's enough of that around these days.
Yeah,
the integrity a bit more. Like because like you say. If I was in Dragon's Den or something trying to get my point across, like they'd go, well, that's not a business. I'm out. You know what I mean? No offense to your accent. And I was like, and you just think, like, yeah, but that, like I say, that's not what it's about. It's got nothing to do with the money and the thing, because I didn't do it for the money, and I still don't. That's what I'm saying. Like even now, we're this winter, I'm doing issue 10.
Right.
And I'm like, and it's like I'm still making bugger all out of it, but it's still from the heart.
So what? Sorry, I was just saying. So what on? So you sold 500 copies of issue 1. How many copies did you sell of issue 9 then?
Well, I'm not allowed to disclose that. Obviously, says don't go putting out there.
The sponsors say you can.
No, but it's a lot. It's shocking, really. Yeah, I'm surprised. It goes all over the world. There's like I send them to Australia, Hawaii. Like it's unbelievable where it goes. Yeah, and people, I think generally people love it. You either love it or you hate it. It's like Marmite,
So it's annual.
Yeah, it's annual. Yeah, so it's once a year. I put it together in the winter on my surf trips. It always has been. It was always done. I didn't have kids, so me and my missus, we put it to. I just talk all the crap in it and do all the writing. She puts it together. We're not graphic designers, as you'd be able to tell when you look at it. It was never supposed to be a polished, arty-farty magazine. It was because like I say, I look at things simply. A magazine for me, if I open a magazine, what is it? It's words and it's pictures. Yeah. So for me, I go, well, any program, anyone can put words and some pictures on a page. Yeah. If you want to go real graphic designy and be all cool, but I think again, that's what's lacking in mags. They either go too arty-farty and it's like no content, or there's, like you say, it's full of bloody advertising. But it's just not for me. And that's my opinion. And that's my. That's what I like.
I think I've got issue 1 and 2 is the only ones I haven't got. Issues from
you won't get there. They're rocking all shit. They are. Yeah, I have people offering me loads of money.
That was a question. Just
no, you're not getting one. No. I've only got 3 myself of issue 1. I was gutted I didn't keep more. And like this last one, issue 9, that's the fastest selling one ever. Which weirdly, I was kind of not giving up on the mag. It's not fair on my wife. She's like, bless her, because it's hard for her. Like instead of just having our winter to do what we want, she has to do all the putting because I'm too thick to do half of it. So she puts it together. So we're a good teamwork.
Yeah, okay.
It's only me and her. There's no office. I get these people emailing me saying, "Oh, I want to work for your magazine, and maybe I could do." I'm like, mate, it's just me and my missus sitting in a hammock on, after a surf, putting it together. It's just rootsy, old school.
So like, we were chatting to someone yesterday about them submitting things to magazines and articles and stuff like that. How does that work? Do you have submissions off people?
Yeah, people in fact, every year suddenly I'll think, right, I better get some stuff together because I ain't done nothing. I've been too busy all year. So suddenly I'll reach out and say, send a submission in. Sometimes they're crap, sometimes they're good. Usually I'm pretty open to things and points of view. If I don't agree with it, it doesn't mean I won't put it in there. It's that thing of like, no, I understand that we're all a different thing. But yeah, people just subscribe and then, like you say, last year was probably the one I'd think I hit the pinnacle for me. It was getting George Greeno in there, which for me he's a god, and everyone said to me, you never George Greeno's untouchable. He doesn't do articles for any big even Surface Journal, I don't think he's not interested, basically. And I said, oh man, imagine getting George Greeno, you know. And we were interviewing, my friend Andy was interviewing a guy called Mark Andrini. He's a famous shaper from America who lives up near Mavericks. And he's kind of synonymous with George. He's done a lot of edge shapes and all these, and he's kind of down with George over in Australia. And he said, "Are you kidding me, man?" You know, that's my American accent. Yeah. He was like, he said, "Oh, George would be stoked to be part of something like this." And I was like, "Nah, no way." You know, like we were kind of no way. And then I got my mate Andy on the case a bit because he was doing the Andrini interview for me. And then suddenly the phone rang. And it's like, you know, and it was like, hello, was this England? And we were like, what, who's this? And he goes, it's George. You know, and we were like, George who? You know, and he was going, George Greeno. And we were like, yeah, nice one. You know, like, yeah, you know, it's one of your mates. Yeah. So we were like, what? And then, no, in legit, it was George Greeno. He said, Mark said that I should, can you send me a magazine, you know, so I can look at what you're about. Yeah. You know, and I was like, he said, it's a different publication. It's not about you know, money and industry and selling out. And I said, oh yeah, cool. So we sent him a magazine, and he was like, man, this is the real deal, you know. Like, and now George is like, he's just wrote us a piece about Crystal Voyager, and you know the Pink Floyd bit they did. I don't know if you know, they did the Pink Floyd echoes and everything, where you see the tube, where he's in the tube and everything, and he talks about, he's just wrote us an article about that, and then and he did us this massive interview anyway for the last issue. Like, he was totally into it, and he said, oh, when's the next one? He's actually hassling all the time, when's the next one? So I've made it. You know what I mean? I don't care now. That was worth it for me. So whatever now, you know, it's like, For
anyone that's listening that's thinking, I'm going to do a submission, I'm presuming from talking to you, you're more about the story that person has to tell as opposed to the pictures of...
Yeah, mostly, It's just if someone's got an interesting story, then it's interesting, isn't it? You know, if you can relate to it. And it's not about being, I'm the best surfer in the world. You can be a total beginner. But if it's something beautiful in what you're saying, then you know, because we're all got our journey, haven't we? You know,
Absolutely.
and like you say, you know, I don't bash beginners and whatever. I'm just as stoked to see. In fact, I prefer people paddling out. You know, like I'll hoot a kook, if you want to call them a kook. I'll, you know, come down the line, you can see on their face, I just scored the best wave of my life. Yes. But it was just a straight hander to the beach, and I'm like going, man, that was sick. You know, and then I look at it, they go, did you see it? Did you see it? And you're like, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. You know, you've just given that guy or that girl, you've just given them gold. You know, like, you've just boosted their life forever. Whereas someone who's surfed for years will just go, whatever, mate. Yeah, you know, you become very.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Jaded.
You get that stoke on the face of beginners, like people catching their first wave, the first time they get whitewater, the first time they stand up, that thing on their face. And the more you do it, the more it seems to get lost in people, the more their faces turn so serious.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I guess you can only
never see surfing like that.
You can only become so consistent, because I'm still at a stage where I'm learning a lot, and I think for me, my progression at the minute is actually hooking more things up, whereas I'm getting okay at doing individual things. I've not necessarily been able to hook it all up together, and more I'm able to hook things up more and get further down the line and so on and so forth. So I think when you get so consistent, there's a point where you're just trying to refine the same thing. You're kind of already at a base level.
Yeah, but I think if you lose that enjoyment of what, you know, if you change in that lineup to become so serious, you should stop doing it.
But it happens surprisingly quickly too. That's what's a bit I don't know if it's egotistical or I don't know what it is, but you know, you see guys who can barely surf, and then suddenly they can get to their feet and go a long wave, and they're looking at total beginners like with disdain and looking at them and get this ego thing out of the way, kook, you know, and you're thinking, hang on, mate, you're still a beginner, believe me, you know, like, and and that's kind of like, I don't know why it creeps in so quickly with things. I don't know if it's like that in other pursuits, like, you know, snowboarding or skate, I don't know. You know, but
I'd love to be good enough to be egotistical like that, but I know I never will be.
Ego creeps.
It's like
creeps
if I could play guitar and sing, I'd be such a show-off belly. All the
time. But we're all relative. Ultimately, it's all about enjoyment, isn't it? And if the joy's gone for you, then you've got to find something else. You know, and that's like, you know, I still love surfing. After 40 years, I'm still totally in love with it. It's my whole life, you know, and everything, and like it is for a lot of people. And you know, a lot of older guys. I'm 52 now. But I'm surfing probably, I think I surf probably more than the average person in this country, you know, like, because I live right here, I don't have children, I make sure that I go surfing, it keeps me fit, it keeps me grounded, and I'm I keep a calendar. It might be a bit sad and geeky, but when I go surfing, I circle the day, and I say, you know, fist roll, 3 foot, what I rode, because I ride other stuff as well as surfboards.
So what is the other stuff you do ride as well?
Well, belly boards and body surfing and mat surfing and trays, burger trays with fins on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so I've lost it. So I've totally lost it, man. I'm going down a rabbit hole of weirdness, but it's amazing.
So when you say that crate over there,
I could probably surf that. Yeah, I do keep eyeing it up. But but it's amazing. And do you know what I found though? The thing is, like, people sort of slag it off. They look down on it. You know, like people would have a go at bodyboarders. You know, bodyboarding is not as cool as surfing, or not as I don't know, whatever the word is. But you like, you know, and you think, but these guys are loving. As long as they're enjoying themselves, that's fine. So body surfing and belly boarding and mat surfing, all this stuff is all. I like it because it takes me back to the old school days, like you said originally, about in the 80s, where I felt that surfing was a bit more, you know, out there and a bit kind of fringe. So that's why I started a thing. I call it fringe surfing, like all the different things that are that we ride, because they're on the outskirts of surfing, you know, but they're still surfing. I'm still like today I had the sickest session ever in Towan of all places. There was a group of us, 9-10 of us, belly boards, body surfers, mats, everyone was in there, and we hoot each other. There's a sense of community again, which is, for me, is sadly lacking in surfing. It feels like when I paddle out on my board, it feels like everyone's just being miserable, grumpy. You know, no one talks to each other anymore. They're all pissed off of each other with long faces. But when I paddle out with the crew who are into the other stuff, everyone's the most stoked people. They're all about community, all about fun, all about just getting your shred on. It's amazing.
I'm so with you on that. We paddled out at Towan yesterday. A load of army surfers down. There was about 20 of us in the lineup. I've been with army surfing for years, but there's loads of new faces this year, which is great. Yeah. And we paddled out, and there was faces I recognised. We were obviously all talking, and like you said, whooping and hollering for each other. But there was people within the group where we were sat who I'd never seen before, and we thought it was other army surfers, but we were all so stoked and friendly for each other. But it turned out they were nothing to do with us. There was loads of people, but they were engaging in a conversation, getting stoked for each other. And that's so infectious. That's how it should be. My home spot in St Andrews, I always say this. People ask me your favourite spot to surf. It's St Andrews East Sands, because the community is so friendly. People just want to talk to you. Yeah, people aren't eyeing you up going, this fucker's going to drop in on me. It's just a friendly environment, house surfing in my head. Yeah, should be.
But like I say, you're still surfing in a small world compared to Newquay. You know, Newquay is the capital of surfing, and it kind of thing in the UK, right? You know, the industry's here, everything's here, right? And the surf's busy, really busy. And like when you're in those small places, like I was brought up in that, you know, like I say, in Southwark near Brighton, where it was only a few of us, you know, and you all knew each other, and you all knew what the score was. There was a pecking order, and everyone was being cool. You know, like the good surfers kind of like either invite you in or be whatever. Nowadays, you can't do no local shit like that, you know, or whatever. And which I don't agree with localism at all, but but it worked because, you know, it's like when people, someone's liking it to driving or something where, you know, you like, you wouldn't just, like today, guys out the front here were just blindly taking off, you know, and they're on shortboard, some of them, so they're not like they're supposed to be beginners, but they're like, you know, then they just shoot without looking, and you're taking off on a wave, you're like, oh, yo, you know, and they're looking at you, and you're well, they don't look at you, and then at the end of it, oh, sorry, mate, I didn't hear you. What do you mean you didn't hear me? You didn't look. You know, it ain't about me shouting at you, you know, like you should have you wouldn't get in a car and then just blindly go out of a turning, would you, without looking either way, you know, mirror signal manoeuvre. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a bit of communication, isn't it?
I suppose you've got that mixed thing there as well, because there's nothing worse than being waiting for a wave and turning around and there's someone right in your way, like directly behind you.
I mean, there's
you know, and then but the other way, you've got to have that both ways. You know, you've got. I think there needs to be more education around it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge subject.
Education's everything in the water, and that's not just for surf etiquette. That's for water safety and all these other things, going out and, you know, sticking to your ability and stuff. Yeah. But everyone's using surfing as a sexy advertisement tool at the minute, but there's not enough people promoting. Yeah. In fact, we spoke about it the other week. I ordered a board from Board Shop, and it never occurred to me before. We spoke about this already. It never occurred to me the responsibility that these, you know, the big brands that are you know, introducing people to surfing potentially for the first time, the responsibility of etiquette, and it came with, like, there was a leaflet of etiquette on it, really Billy Basic, you know, Johnny Age 5 sort of thing. Don't do this. Paddle here if somebody's coming at you. I thought, actually, that's a fair thing to be doing,
that was pretty
because
good,
it's a bit of responsibility within that.
But that's also what you get more from a local surf shop, isn't it? You know, if you're going to get something through Amazon or one of these, you know, big things, that you're not. you're not gonna get any advice, are you? I'm like, when people come in the shop, you're saying, yeah, surf here, don't surf here, do this, don't do that. And you're getting honest advice from someone. And there's, you're not going to get that from a big corporate thing that you've just unwrapped that's just arrived.
Yeah.
It's not
I like the process of talking to a shaper and like deciding what you want and how things can change and how you like things different. I like that process. And like I've already said, the setup here is bloody brilliant.
Yeah,
the shop
well,
side
it's
of
just
it
real, isn't it? It's a working, real surf shop before it's trying to be
cool. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of an 80s skateboard shop as well.
Yeah, and that's what it should be.
Yeah,
you need to bring back more of that radness, the old school stuff. It's like you said earlier, you go in shops and there's some little pretty girl sitting there or some guy who's with his swiffy haircut and they don't even surf and they're trying to talk to you about surfing. You're like, mate, you don't know what you're on about.
Yeah.
You don't surf. I mean, I don't know if you go to a climbing shop or a bike shop and then people don't ride bikes or go climbing. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know because that's not my thing. But in surfing, it's like ridiculous.
Got 2 wheels and a handlebar. What else you need? That's
each their own. But we're just trying to be a real surf shop and it seems to be working because considering we're a back street, because I don't want to be on the high street. I wouldn't want a shop on the high street because it'd just be too busy. I'm not organised enough. I just want, as long as I can go surfing and get paid to talk shit all day to customers, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a millionaire. You can't be a millionaire. Everyone comes into the surf industry thinking they're going to be the next big thing and be that. You're never going to do it. Just be happy with fixing some. We're fixing things. Like it smells of resin in here, and it's dust everywhere and crap, and and we go. And if the surf's good, I'm going surfing.
Yeah. Well, you must be doing something right. Like I said earlier, for the amount of people that have said to us. Well, I think within this week.
We were talking about several sources, inside sources.
That's only because they know that I'll give you loads of juicy shit going on about it.
What I like is when we came in, you were like, I don't think I've got anything to say, and the whole time we could have sat here and just put the mics down and left it to it.
Yeah. But I say, I mean, it's flattering, that people do think, it's not a personal thing. I just, I just know what I like, and if like I said, everyone's got their opinions, and I've got mine and other people have got theirs. But like I said to you earlier, I'm happy that other people have their opinion. And if someone proves me wrong with something, I'll go with it. I'm like, okay, I didn't see it like that.
Sure,
that's fair enough. And I love that because you learn. I don't know everything. I don't know bugger all. But I'm winging it. I'm having a good life.
Yeah.
So you said you spend winters doing the magazine and going away if you can.
Yeah, I'm off. I'm actually off on Sunday. That's it. I'm out of here for the winter. 5 months off. So
where are you going?
I'm not allowed to divulge that. I can't do that because I don't want to influence anyone to go where I go. There's too much of that going on.
St Andrews.
Yeah, I'm off to St Andrews. Yeah. So you know what I mean? No, I'm not into that because otherwise, it's bad enough having a surf shop and having a surf magazine. You are influencing ultimately, so we're all hypocrites in a way. I do make money out of surfing, but then I'll moan about people surfing or something. There's so many surfers these days, but I'm like, but. We got sold the dream, didn't we? And everyone's living it. And like you say, nowadays with all the lockdowns and all the stuff that happened, the water's just got stupid. It's just boiling with people, especially around here.
Yeah.
But it's like a Monday. Yesterday, it was a Monday afternoon, early afternoon, and you're like, why are there so many people? Like, there's no one work anymore. But obviously. Loads of people working from home.
That's because
it's 24 hours.
Surfing lockdown. That's why.
Yeah,
there's all in there.
It's mad.
Come and talk to me if you want about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So all these people have got 24 hours in the day, but they only need a couple of hours to go surfing.
Yeah.
So they can juggle their lives, and that's why the water's so busy in the daytime now.
I was pretty blown away with how busy it was in the water yesterday. To be fair, I was not expecting that.
I guess if you're not used to it, it's pretty.
Well, to be fair, most of our events tend to be, I wouldn't say in summer, but very close to either side of summer. So it's rare to have one this kind of time of year. Yeah. So I know how busy it gets in the summer. Yeah. And to still have been as busy yesterday, I was
it's normal now. It's normal. Like I say, the last few years haven't been normal, have they? But because of all the COVID stuff. But the water here, like I say, and I actually. This is the first time in about 22 years that I've spent the winter in England. Right. So for me, it was kind of a shock. Actually, I really enjoyed it. It was a bit of a novelty the first year. Second year, it was all right. It was super busy, but the swell just pumps. I almost didn't realise just how much swell. Because in the summer, you're scratching for swell because it's the summer. Yeah. They do that shitboard masters contest in August of all times, and it's just a joke. So you're like, so you think if you're going to hold a contest, hold it when the swell's there. Obviously November. From now on, it's just going to pump. I go surfing every day and I'm just like, look, it's ridiculous how much swell there is. But like I say, I go away in the winter because I'm searching for different waves and, you know.
So how do you work on the magazine when you're away? Do you just do all that remotely then?
Yeah, just remotely. Yeah, I used to just get all my stuff packed up on a hard drive over the year, and then just put it all together basically.
Yeah,
just go away with it all. And then nowadays it's easy because the internet's a bit more available. But where I used to go was I was totally off grid. There was no internet in the village. I was out on this beautiful left-hand point break somewhere in Central America, and I used to be suddenly, but then one year I went back there and I was like, Jesus, busier. But of course, everyone started Instagramming it, and it was like next minute, like I went in there because I used to paddle out pretty much on dawn with one other old fellow who was out there and a couple of other guys every now and again, and we used to just trade waves. It was cool. Then by about 9 o'clock, you'd get the sort of lazy crew that kind of got up and had their coffee and that, and it was cool. But like suddenly, it was like, holy shit, I'd paddle out in the dark, literally, and there'd be 15 people sat there in the dark, before I'd even got in. I went, mate, this place has had it, and I haven't been back, sadly. And that has had a big place in my heart, that place.
So that, you didn't want to say where you're going now. Have you found somewhere else that's like that
I've got a couple of other spots, It takes a lot of work, though, like to find places that are not ruined. Because the thing is, I don't want to go and surf Pipeline or something. I'm not out for waves of consequence. I'm out. I love a good quality wave. I love point breaks. Who doesn't? Yeah. But I'm not looking for somewhere that's going to eat me alive and give me a beating. Yeah. I'm just going, and I'm with my missus. We just want to go and have fun waves. But all the fun waves and all the waves that are sort of discovered, they're all just full of people now. Surf camps. All these. It's just ridiculous now. So any wave that's kind of half easy going now, they're just mobbed with longboarders and whatever. It's different now.
And you've got some ideas in mind for your content already for whatever you're heading to, or are you sort of last minute going to?
Yeah, I'm winging it a bit this year. I've got some good stuff. Like I say, George Greenow's doing me a few bits. I've got Bob McTavish. He's done an interview for us.
Nice.
And all that. Yeah, and there's a few others in there, like names and that. I won't say them yet. But we've got I've got quite a bit of content. I'm not really short for content, because if I am short, I'll write something crap anyway and put it in there. Up. Yeah, I'll make something up to go along. Yeah, but it's good.
About World Masters.
Yeah, it kind of right. And if I do get to that stage where I'm thinking, you know what, like it's not my heart ain't in it, and I'm just, you know what I mean. I can't find that. I'll come to a block, then I'll just stop the mag. I've got nothing to lose. I'm like, that's like I say, it's not a business. I'm not in it for the money.
I think because you're doing it so honestly, things come across when it's honest, and like you say, if you don't have the passion for it, that would be quite apparent. Potentially.
Yeah, I think you got that thing as well, because I spoke to you ages ago when I first started doing the podcast. You're like, I don't know if I want to come on or not, because I don't know if people want to hear my opinions. Well, because
I know I'll stitch myself up, and then people, like I say, people will all go either, that's Steve-O, he's a right wanker, or, oh yeah,
But I don't think it comes across like that, because I think it comes across with passion, and you've been in it long enough to see the changes that have happened. So it's not like a bitterness or anything like that. It's just like a fact of how it is.
No, you don't come across.
No, but I'm not bitter though. I spoke recently. I don't want to keep doing the name dropping thing, but I spoke with a guy, like a really famous dude. He's like one of the best body surfers in the world. This guy's a legend, and he said to me about he doesn't want to be that grumpy guy, the grumpy old guy in the water. He goes, we've had our time, as in to the kids now. Like when I see the kids out there, I'm stoked. I look at them and I think, like you were surfing pretty sick. I wish I'd surf like you at your age. You're lucky kid. But they're going away on surf trips because people got more money. It feels like these days. And everyone's your dad's probably surf. Surfing's not young anymore. That's because back then. I mean, I'm only from the 80s, really. Like I say, I was born in 1970. I didn't start surfing until 84. And I think to myself, but surfing was still in this country relatively young, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So surfing's not young anymore. You've got all those generations of surf, all those old guys. But yeah, when like you say, you hear older guys getting, they're good old days. Yeah, but you were young then, and you've had your time. Yeah. These guys are tripping out on it. They're in where we were. They're thinking, man, this is what. So it's not really fair to kind of like look down on people.
No, not at all.
I've never been more stoked, to be honest. I reckon I love surfing more now than I ever did.
That's brilliant to hear.
I was going to ask you that exact question actually, and do you think surfing gives you more now?
Yeah,
with 40 years experience than it did when you started out.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Although, like you say, in all honesty, though, I surf my board, I call my footboard. I surf it 2 out of 10 probably now. Okay. I'm body surfing a hell of a lot. And mat surfing, that's the hardest of all for me. I mean, it's not as hard as surfing, but mat surfing is seriously difficult.
Right.
I know guys that are shit hot surfers and they've dabbled with mat surfing and stuff because it's a bit weird, it's a bit George Greeno and it's old school, and it's a nightmare and it's really hard. They call it like cuddling the squid, or like cuddling a greased pig. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just so much weird shit going on in a mat that even now I don't understand it, but but it's something that I wanted to do. I just thought the feeling it gives you when you get that magic moment on a wave, it's like nothing I've ever experienced. That's
definitely.
after 40 years of surfing a board all over the world.
Yeah.
These things are all relevant.
Absolutely.
Body surfing's the same. The feeling of your body being the rail and the intenseness of no board and just flying down. You get barreled almost every time you go surfing.
Yeah.
Whereas on a board, I rarely get barreled. I'm not a bullshit barrel guy.
So in talking boards, what was your go-to board normally, or how has that changed over the years?
So I started off doing like being stupid on short boards and everything. Then it was like single fins, and as that whole Litmus thing came in, but then it got into the foamies, which then led me to, which I never really had interest in longboards. I was like, but then you got to remember back in the 90s or the turn of the century, whatever, longboard, no one was really on longboards, were they? It kind of died, didn't it, on its arse, and it's had a resurgence. Now everyone's out on some nice, expensive retro, some resin tinted 9 blah 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 log single fin, which is lovely because it's graceful, it's a more arty than aggressive attack. But the thing is with the people who are going out and buying these boards, say from California, £1,500 worth of longboard, but they're shit here because we're not a Pacific Point Break. We haven't got these powerful little point breaks. The rails are wrong on it. There's loads of things. Not all of them. Some of them they're just good boards and they work. But people are buying into this thing of but it costs loads of money, so it must be good, and that's far from the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was quite wise, wasn't it?
It was wise, yeah.
but it's just true. It's true. I see it all day long in here. People come in talking shit about boards and how they think that this is going to make them that and make them that. And the amount, in all honesty, people come to the rack, right? They come in and they say to me, "Oh, I want this little board because it looks cool, right? A little 6.0 or a 5.10 fish or whatever." And I look at them and I'm going, okay, yeah, right. So first of all, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I judge them as in, you don't look like you surf. They've done it, whatever that's meant to mean.
Yeah.
But you kind of go, oh, right, so how often you surf? Well, I'm down here a couple of times a year. And you're like, right, and how long you been surfing? And they're like, a couple of years. And you're like, and you surf a few times a year. I goes, mate, you're about 10 years from that board. Yeah. And they would go, oh, yeah, but you can't stop me buying that. And I'm like, well, I can because I won't sell it to you. Yeah. And then they walk out with the arse. But then I'll see them I'll see them like, say, an hour later walking up the road with a little whatever, under their, like a little stupid board under their arm. And I thought, well, I might as well made that money. But at least I sleep at night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah. You're kind of doing them a favour without them realising it by, because there's nothing worse than being on the wrong board.
No,
but people don't want to be told, do they? They don't want to hear that because that's really cool, that board.
Yeah.
Where it's not very cool, this big 8-foot mid-length or mini-mal, we used to call them.
Mini-mal,
you know what I mean? Like, so, like it's, you can't educate some people because they don't want to hear it, but then you'll see them out in the water and they're having a nightmare. But the people that do listen are the ones that you see progress, and that's nice to see. And that's what you get, like you say, you get that from a surf shop, don't you?
Yeah. So also
really
you got that question we often ask. I'm not going to ask it in the way I normally ask it because you've already sort of answered it.
You're going to do it in French?
No, yeah. I'm going to do it in French.
Spanish?
No, I'll just end up offending people.
So people want to hear it.
If you could surf, normally you say if you could surf one wave anywhere, where would it be? But I'm going to say if you could surf one wave locally for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
For me, I'm a Fistral boy. That's the thing. Like, I'm all about Fistral. It's like my home, really. It's like my front garden. When I paddle out of Fistral, you pretty much know everyone, if you know what I mean. Everyone knows me. And like I say, and I'm not dick in the water. I know when something's wrong. But it's really hard because you're in a busy beach like Fistral. It's probably the most famous surfing beach in Britain, and therefore it's also the most crowded. But I live just up the road. I can see it from my house. And I'm like, there it is. And it has good years, it has bad years. Sometimes the banks are good, sometimes the banks are shit like anywhere. But Fistral is my home, really. And all the characters and all the community that surfs it, like, I got a lot of respect for them.
Yeah.
And worst wipeout, worst experience in the surf?
Worst experience? Well, I did have years ago, probably, crikey, that must be 25 years ago. But I paddled out once at Fistral and I didn't really check it. I remember just looking at it and thinking, oh, it looks all right. And I paddled out. I thought it was about 4 foot, weirdly. And even to this day, I can't understand how it happened. But I paddled out into it and I was on a shortboard and I paddled out and there was a boat. I think there was a bodyboarder who was paddling out at the same time. It was totally empty. And as I paddled out, I was thinking, where is everyone? This is weird. And as I paddled, I looked out to sea and I saw this set come through. And it was like, I thought, holy shit, is that a set out there? We were way inside, you know. And even now I can't understand it because I think maybe I was just a kook, you know, like I just didn't understand what was going on. But I got a beating, you know, like this thing raised, and like in my brain it was 20 foot. Obviously it wasn't, because it wouldn't just sort of suddenly appear 20 foot, but it felt like it was. You know, when you see waves go really slow, you know, rising like that, and I was like, holy shit. And that was and it took me down, you know, like just exploded on me. And I remember going underwater and I had a panic attack. I'd never had a panic, and to this day I've never had one again. But I started, you know, hyperventilating and going, shit, I just wasn't prepared mentally for that, what was going on. And I remember being washed down into the bottom. Luckily, my leash didn't snap. But I got up, and then the next one hit me, and I was shitting it. You know, like I was like, this is bad, this is bad. I was shaking, you know, and like you say, that it was the hyperventilating. I couldn't. What a stupid thing to do. You know, your body reacts that way to a situation, and that knocked me. Anyway, I survived it. It got me to the beach. I felt sick, you know, like just. But it really knocked my confidence. And even to this day, I still don't go out in stuff that I would have. You know, like it really shook me. Yeah, but that was at Fistral, funny enough.
Never let go of them.
Yeah, that was at North Fistral. Yeah, it really done me.
You get those ones when you know it's big, when the wave comes above you and it starts to go fucking dark, and you're like,
yeah, no, it's
hello, fuck this.
Oh, you just want to go home. You know, I've had enough. I want to go home. You know, please just let me see another day.
And I have another question for you. I think it's probably relevant, talking about fringe surfing. Of all the funky stuff you might surf, what is your favourite fringe?
Oh, I love them all equally. That's the problem, because they've all got their place. What people are missing out on is, like, say, the belly board. People think it's just some old woman with a swimming cap on going in the white water, but we're wearing fins. You know, you're surfers, and you like today. I was on a belly board out there, and we were killing it, man. It was amazing. You know, like that for me, I got out buzzing, whereas everyone else looked pretty pissed off. But all us lot, every one of us got out. There was a few body surfers and whatever. Every one of us come out and goes, that was a really good session. You know,
awesome.
Like we were on the beach all buzzing.
What's the lady that surfs here? The
Gwyn Haslock.
Yeah,
she's my shop grom. She's like 70. I think she's 76.
Yeah,
but yeah, she surfs like she's inspirational, because she's
amazing.
Yeah, but she's surfing all the time still. You know, she's in there. She's like and if it's too big for her, she'll go belly boarding. You know, but she does it old school. You know, because she just wants to get in the water. You know, she lives alone. She's and that's her thing every day. It gives her a purpose, I imagine.
I love the idea, because I've spoken to her before. She's so lovely. Yeah, I like the idea that in the lineup she's an absolute arsehole to everyone.
Yeah.
Fucking get off that wave, you.
Yeah,
I love the idea of that.
Nah, she's lovely, but she's a bit eccentric, and she's but she's a real character, and I like that. And that, I think, probably, you know, she's been surfing since the 60s, since she was a kid. Since the 50s, really. She started belly boarding.
First female professional surfer, I think. Did she?
Yeah, well, she won contests back there, you know, back in the 60s and whatever. But she, she's lovely, and she's here almost every day. She pops by. It's a little routine. Yeah. You know, it gives her a little purpose. She comes in. We've got a juice bar at the road my wife runs, and she comes in and has a coffee or an ice cream or whatever, and tries to rub it in that she's been in, because she's an early bird. She gets up the crack of dawn, and she's in there first. So she comes by and goes, "Yeah, you missed it, and whatever."
So, fringe surfing. What are your thoughts on like SUPs and?
Oh no!
No, you didn't.
Yeah, well, I'm famously always been against, but it's always been a bit tongue in cheek. You know, the thing is, I think ultimately what it is it's a thing of if there's a way of people catching a wave better than you, you know, as in, or being a pain in the arse, then you're not going to like it, are you? Yeah. Shortboarders don't like longboarders. Longboarders don't like, or people don't want. So when SUPs came along, it was just like this big unwieldy, bloody great thing going through the lineup. You know, usually middle-aged men that, or for a lot of them, it's like they could never surf. So it was like cheating way of already being on your feet and not earning it. And that's what I struggled with. Plus, I got hit a few times in the head by SUPs that were out of control and whatever. But ultimately, they're doing their thing. Like, I could never go on a SUP because I'll get lynched. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? After all the sort of shit I've given them over the years. Yeah.
And then they've come in and you're like, actually, it looks like... And then you're like, I just can't do it.
No, I can't do it, no. But, I've got total respect. I know loads of suppers that are super nice. They actually talk to me. It's really weird, you know. Like, but I just use them as spotters. Yeah. I'll see them in the lineup, stayed up there, and because they can see further, can't they? Yeah. Than you. They can see the set, so I'm watching them. So they're my spotters, really. Yeah. You know, when I'm in the lineup. But no, I've got nothing to get. I know loads of really cool guys that do it and girls. But it's just, I just think it looks a bit ugly, and it's not for me. I don't know. It's just not surfing, if you know what I mean. But which is probably what people think about, you know, like body surfing and whatever. Because you got to take a lot of humility with it. You're now bottom of the pecking order. Yeah. You know, like people look at you, what are you doing, swimming around like an idiot. You know, but yet like I said, the feeling's so intense and the stoke's so high that it's mind blowing. It's totally changed my life. and I'll probably, hopefully, do it the rest of my life. And it's not because people go, they all think I'm injured or something's happened. I'm like, no, I've just found this amazing thing. And the community, like I say, it's a niche thing again. Even the top players in it, they're approachable. You know, like you could talk to the Kelly Slater of body surfing or the, whatever, and they're totally approachable. They love it because it's so small. The world is so small in that, and that's what I love about it. I'd rather be the 1 in 100 than in the lineup than the 101. You know, like I say, I still love surfing. I love it dearly, but I surf. Whether you think I surf bad or good, it's irrelevant. When I do go surfing, I'm still really enjoying it, So I'm super happy with it.
It's interesting because I shortboard, and the stoke I get out of it, the amount of stuff it does for me shortboarding, and actually, why would I not want to replicate that stoke through doing something else? But for me, the reason I don't want to go into any other equipment is that I don't want to lose that same stoke for shortboarding, because I know the stoke that in itself gives me. So for the reason of its stoke is the reason why I don't want to try other things. It's not that I'm against it.
But plus you're probably at the stage, like for me, I've surfed for 40 years, so I surf as well as I'm ever going to surf. I'm not suddenly going to become the next big thing at 52. I'm happy with how I surf, as in, when I go surfing, I go, I can do this. I'm flowing the way I like it. I'm enjoying it and everything. But I'm not. I'm not getting. I'm not like I say, I'm not going to suddenly improve. So for me, I've got that comfort. Whereas you would probably think, but I don't want to waste a surf doing something else, because that's where it changes. Is where you go from, you know what I mean? You because you're trying to get better, you're trying to get better, and every surf is important. So if you did something else, it would feel like, but I could have been doing it on a board. But what you don't realise is how much the feeling is the same. It's pretty much the same. You're looking for the same wave. When you drop down, like you're dropping into a wave, say on your body, and you're seeing that curl there, you're going, my God, like the feeling's intense, and and the fitness goes through the roof. When I take surfers out with me, body surfing, they go, I've seen you lot. It's, some people get it and they go, it looks real fun, and you lot are all having a good time. They come swimming out with me and they're blowing out their arse in 5 minutes because they're not used to it. You're swimming around, you're diving under waves, and they're just like, man, I feel so unfit, and it's surprising. It really surprised me. And all the old guys used to say to me, as you hit your 50s, that's when it all goes downhill. Your fitness goes, you start to, things happen, and you're like, so I just thought, well, I'm going to up my game. And like I say, last year I surfed 221 days of the year. Wow. That's not bad. At my age.
Yeah.
I don't feel old. I don't feel one of the old boys or whatever. But probably kids look at you and think, "All right, granddad." But you're out there, and like the other bonus of being older is that you're more comfortable with yourself. You don't give a shit what other people think.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's beautiful. That's one of the most amazing things about getting older is bollocks to everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't care what you look like or what you don't care anymore.
I like that feeling as I'm getting older now. I like that feeling.
Yeah, it's really it's liberating. But it's liberating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're not worrying about. You're so self-conscious when you're a child, when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You talk to a grom and they're so self-conscious about everything. And I was the same. You're always, but if I look like a dick, whatever. But as you get older, you don't care. You just think, look, I believe in what I believe in because I've had a whole lifetime of experiences. And I think I'm loving it. I'm embracing it.
Absolutely, you can't take that away from a person.
Well, I think it's been absolutely fucking fascinating.
This has been great.
It's been absolutely great. Do you want to tell people where they can find you online?
If you go on, if you're into the real surfing, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and all that. But I don't really do the Facebook as much anymore. I'm a bit more sort of towards Instagram, but on Real Surfing Magazine or the Fringe. If you want to change your life and look at something that's a bit more kind of inclusive and community driven, then I've got the page on Instagram called Fringe Surfing. Check me out on that. But like I say, everyone's welcome to always join us. It's a real inclusive, like I say, vibe in it. And there's some ex-surfers, some guys who have been injured, and they suddenly, instead of not surfing, they're getting their buzz, still getting in the water. Part of it's about the immersion, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these people, like I've met through this whole thing, are just like, everyone's just buzzing on it, and it's like, it feels like a new thing, but body surfing is not new, or mat surfing is not new. But when do you see people in the lineup, flying along on their body?
You're one of two people rad. I'm aware of that do that.
Yeah, and there is a bit of a nest of us here, but it ain't just us. It's all up and down the coast. But we're all, but it's very, and even like you say, I'm hooking up with people in Hawaii. There was a kid here last week from Canada, from Tofino, who he said there's only 2 body surfers in Canada up there in Tofino, and he came because he knew that he'd heard about the shop on Instagram. There are some things about social media, as much as it's shit.
Yes.
But there are things that do connect us, like you say, as a tribe kind of thing. And because it's so niche and it feels so new here, it's really exciting. It's an exciting time.
Yeah.
And if anyone's had their surfboard anywhere near Pete's surfboard whilst he's been carrying his and they've then got dings in it, where can they find you to get repairs?
Yeah, so we're down next to Walkabout in Newquay, Karma Surf Shop and that. It's still open for ding repairs all winter. Like I say, I disappear for the winter, so the shop itself is packed away. But Dave is still making his boards, his custom boards through the winter, and the guys are still fixing your board. So yeah, bring your dings in.
Yeah.
Hidden message.
Right.
Pete doesn't control his board very well when he carries it.
No, but you're keeping people in business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is very generous.
See, the difference is my board's big and custom made, and he's got a cheap shop bit of shit bought from the internet.
Yeah, but they all still take your head off. There's so many. I mean, like you say, you're joking aside, out the front here, we've got Towan Beach, and it's just chaos. It's carnage. I call it Danger Bay. And like when we go body surfing, we're wearing gaff helmets. Like which you'd feel like a right dick. Tom Carroll can carry it off a pipeline, but we're out there, and you're on a surfboard, you feel a bit conscious, but that's a shame. Gaff helmets, they're like the best thing since sliced head. You know what I mean? They're like, honestly, it's like the amount I've been hit 9 times in the head so far since I've started body surfing by people's boards. Jeez, and ultimately, what would I have been hospitalised? I don't know. Yeah. But luckily, I had a lid on.
Yeah,
we've had one guy today, army surfer, actually by Mick Fannin of all people, ran him over on his board. The board is done. Yeah. Took nearly most of his thumb off as well.
Not actual Mick Fannin, you should say.
No,
his name's Mick Fannin.
Retirement's not done well to Michael
But like I
Fannin.
say, you are keeping everyone running each other down, is keeping us in business. It's insane. Yeah, the things are coming through the door thick and fast, which is sad.
Yeah.
When we give them the board back, we're like, look, hopefully we won't see you again. You know what I mean? Thin slices is the big new one.
Yeah.
And if that could have been your head.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Etiquette's the solution.
Yeah.
And looking.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, well, thanks for that, Steve.
That was, I just literally, as we said, it was recorded so long ago. It was back in October last
It was October. Year. It's been 6 months. Yeah. And interestingly, as we record this now, I'm on my way back from my Newquay surf trip with Army Surfing, even though I'm no longer in. So it was nice to be in Newquay again. And yeah, it was such a long time ago, but man, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been just editing it. I was just like, my wife was saying to me, "What are you laughing at?" So I was laughing, going through editing it and stuff.
I mean, Steve's a character for sure, and I was always told the world runs on characters.
Yeah,
and I think that's genuinely true. And what a character he is.
Yeah, what a brilliant guy. I mean, the Real Surf magazine, the next issue of that is out anytime now. And as we said, when we recorded that, he was actually at Karma, but now he's off in his own shop in a different place, and it is in Newquay. His new shop is just off of Bank Street, between the pasty shop and the old HSBC building. So that opens up on the 29th of April, and that is called Fringe Surf Shop. And he said to me that he's going to do sort of alternative. There's going to be 50% of the shop will be alternative surf craft, because as he said in that, he's well into his
Fringe surfing.
He's into his mats and his bodyboards and his whatever he can surf, like his fridge.
Yeah, okay,
So all that sort of stuff that he's into that is going to be in there, but he also wants it to be more like a museum as well.
Yeah,
right. Representing different shapers from around the UK and UK surfing and stuff like that. So it should be really good, I reckon. It's going to be a totally different
it's going to be mega. And is it open now?
29th.
It's open on 29th. Shame I didn't get a chance to go in while I was down.
Yeah, you should have. Didn't do much more with that.
I mean, mate, to be fair, we've had a lot of surf, and it's been 3 times a day, sunset session every night. Been some carnage waves. I mean, big waves. There was a day I didn't get in. It was way out of my league.
Well, you got in more than me this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, Salty Safa got in on a big day. I took the drone out. Honestly, it was double overhead, closeouts, low tide, Watergate Bay. And even from the car park with the drone, I was getting scared of the clean-up sets. I was like, oh my God, it was insane.
Yeah.
So it's been a good week, and
I didn't get to come down. I've had a bad back all week.
You were supposed to come down, weren't you? Because you've joined the army. You're still part of Army Surfing.
I'm still part of it. Yeah,
you are.
I was going to come down, but as I say, done my back in and can't surf, can't barely walk, to be honest, at the moment. So that's fun.
You didn't struggle just having a 2:00 breakfast, though, did you?
Oh yeah, well, I did struggle a little.
You got out of bed for that, I tell you.
Got out of that just a little bit. But yeah, as we say, thanks to Steve. That was absolutely brilliant. And go and check him out in his new shop.
It's nice to hear. I think Steve had such I guess a different insight to surfing from me. I've not surfed that long in comparisons. He's grown up with it, and seeing that change where surfing is like quite. I mean, it's probably still quite niche now, I guess, but it's popular.
Yeah.
Like back then, nobody surfed, and even little things he said about like how he would take a foamy out, and people would just be like, "What are you doing, mate?"
Yeah,
and like how it's so normal now. You always see people ripping on foamies, and you've got performance foamies and shortboard foamies and everything else. So nice to see that insight of somebody that's actually seen that progression or that change. And
I do like what he says about the fringe surfers. Real like a community, especially things we've seen recently of like we had like Ben Larg who got beaten up at a beach, and there's that girl who got beaten up at the beach the other day.
Oh yeah. Shocking. Well, thankfully that guy lost all his sponsors as well. That absolute fucking creature bell end cock.
Yeah, good. So he should.
Can you use that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sod it. I'm leaving that in.
Yeah. Shocking.
But like Steve said, like in that fringe community, it's such a community, and everyone's like super stoked for everyone to be there. You do get that weird thing in surfing sometimes of people being like, you paddle out into the lineup, you get intimidated because it's like,
totally.
Who are you? What can you do? What, like me paddling out? Who are you? No one. What can you do? Fuck all.
You get that at the wave, and that's just the staff.
I get that when I walk into my lounge with my wife and my dog. Who are you? And what can you do for us? But as I say, it's a really different take, and we got another different take coming up soon as well with eFoil Scotland, which is
fair. I guess you could class that as fringe, I guess. Like expensive fringe, bloody hell, the most expensive fringe you've ever seen.
But also we should say sponsor of this show, Srface wetsuits, and for 10% off at Srface, head over to Srface and use the discount code UKSurfShow23, and that will get you 10% off anything you order from Srface.
And if you want to get 50% off the annual editions of the Adrenaline Athlete Training Program, which is a strength and conditioning training program designed for surfers, specifically for surfers in mind, there's 2 discount codes. Firstly, for the home edition, that is Surf Home 50, and for the gym edition, that is Surf Gym 50, and that will get you 50% off the Adrenaline Athlete Training Program.
So I got distracted. I thought Waldo just cycled past us.
We should say, we did say we're recording this in your car.
Yeah, in my car, in a car park, in a Morrison's car park. But, I mean,
we're now doing fringe episodes of recording locations.
Just recording random locations. But also, we should say about the FCS competition, because we didn't mention it on last week's at all.
No, so if you're listening to this now, depending on when you're listening to it, if you're listening on Sunday night, that means you're a loyal show fan.
Yes.
So probably tomorrow on Monday, we're going to do the draw via an app, so it's fair.
Yeah. By the spinny circle.
If you're listening to this before midnight on Sunday and you're like, shit, I've commented on Instagram, but I've not done anything on YouTube, get on YouTube, comment, make sure you like and subscribe. And then shortly after that, we will release the details of the next giveaway, which is going to be another epic giveaway.
Yeah. Should we do it Monday or Tuesday? So give people a chance to listen Monday and do the draw on Tuesday.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, let's do the draw Tuesday. So we do the draw on Tuesday, whatever date that is after this one comes out. And that'll be, we'll post the results for that on the Instagram and the YouTube. And
I thought we'd moved on from the
the Instagram and the YouTube. We'll post the results on there, and then we'll also announce it on the next episode who the winner was when we talk about the next competition. With FCS
we'll let everyone know when Paz has won.
You actually got a message off him. Will it be Will it look like a fix if I win?
100%.
It's a random pickup.
Do you know what we should say as well?
Do you know what did look like a fix?
What?
So recently, I went down to Cornwall. It's about 5 weeks ago now, and I was going down in my car, and I spoke to Paz, and I said he's going out for a surf, and with Zoe and Gareth as well, and I said, like, if I come down, can I borrow a board off someone? Paz went, you can borrow the board off you, but he won in the
borrow
competition,
your own board.
my own old board back. He said, you can borrow that to go out. I said, mate, that looked well dodgy. He said, no one will recognise you. No one will recognise you. It's fine. Paddled out. Someone went to me straight away, Pete! I was like, oh, shit!
Which reminds me, so we had a sunset surf the other night, 3 of us, and Salty Safa was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get out now." I mean, it's beyond dark, right? And I was like, "Right, cool, I'll get one more. I'll be in behind you." And I saw him. I kind of caught a rubbish wave, and I was like, "That's not my last one. One more.
Yeah.
I'll have one more." And when I paddled back out, I turned round, and he was stood on the beach just looking. I was like, "Right, cool, he's waiting for me." And then I was there for a bit, so I just caught some white water and went in. But as I was going in, he started walking up the beach, and I was like, "All right, he's just taking a slow walk." But he's quite far in front of me. I was like, "I'm not running," and so I'm shouting absolute abuse at him in the way we do, like I'm proper abuse, right? Okay, and this is a Tolkien, and he's now at the bottom of the stairs at the top of the beach, right? And I'm in proper abuse, and I get up close, and the guy turns round, and is it Salty Safa?
No.
Is it bollocks? And I was like, "Mate, I'm really sorry. I'm literally shouting abuse at you, thinking you're someone else." And he's like, "Oh, no worries." And he turns round, starts walking up the stairs, and then he turns back at me, and he goes, "Are you the Scottish surfer?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm shouting abuse at my fans on the beach now." He's like, "I met a Scottish surfer." He's a prick.
Yeah, just literally shouting at me the whole time.
But yeah, I wanted to say about the Surf Mole Pro episode as well, because actually we had quite a lot of DMs, both to my own account and to the show's account, of people saying, "I didn't realise I had to wear them in the summer," or "I didn't realise wearing a hood wasn't enough."
Yeah.
I've had a few people in from Army Surfing actually this week getting some Surf Mole Pros moulded as well. Salty Safa got some done, which is pretty good. So I hope the message is getting out there as to how important protecting your ears are.
Yeah.
And I think that episode went down pretty well.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it seems to have gone down really well. We had a lot of response, as you say. I think we're going to have to do an episode with the Salty Tramp as well, because he likes being called that, and we talk about him enough on the...
He's not going to be happy with that.
If you ever meet him, "Oh, Salty Tramp, are you the Salty Tramp?"
He honestly, them waves he surfed on Tuesday were ridiculous. I've not seen a proper hold down where his board was tombstoning.
Yeah.
Like, and he actually had to climb his leash, which just in my head, I'm like, I'm so happy I did not go in.
No thanks, no. But I think that's pretty much it. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks to Steve, and good luck to him with the new shop and everything as well, and
totally.
Hope it all goes well. So yeah, next time, can't remember what we've got. We've got something. We've got loads recorded. It's all Scotland now, I think, for the foreseeable.
Bar a couple, maybe.
Yeah, bar a couple that we've got fitted in, and so a lot of Scottishness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people who can't say Peugeot.
Peugeot. It's a Peugeot. It's what they say in France. Peugeot.
See you later.
Bye.